going for a little drive in an old prospecting area that we used to come every week, in this Nerina, just north of Ballarat. So it's a great little spot, and a couple of puddles to go through. Bit of fun. It's all pretty mild. This area's been pretty much taken over by mountain bikers. They've made all sorts of tracks around here. They're everywhere. That little hill on the just in front of us there is called Grey Horse Mine number 1. And we've just driven up from Grey Horse Mine number 2. So most of these places are accessible by an SUV. It doesn't have to be full-on four-wheel drive. I'm just running around in two-wheel drive. That's all you need, really. But you do need a little bit of ground clearance because, tree roots and logs and stuff. So it's a bit of fun. This is being videoed on Samsung Ultra S24, and you'll notice the car sort of wobbling underneath it, so that's to do with the stabilization, which looks like it's pretty good. This is the first time I've really done this with this camera, so far so good. Little tip when you're driving around these places, in places where there's a lot of people, like Ballarat's not far from here, so it's very accessible by everybody, and it's used by people for all sorts of things, including hunting. On the way in, we crested the hill and there was a couple of fellas sighting in a gun, and so they'd set up a gong on the road where the hill is their protection, so they were shooting across a gully and into the hillside on the other side, so it's pretty safe, but it's a road, so, we're just coming under the power lines now, so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So they were set up here on this hill and they were shooting into the base of that other hill. So this is all pretty mild stuff going through here.
You wonder how ice could still be there when the sun is shining on it?
Yeah, you're quite right. There is still some ice in this puddle as well. I'll just go through this deep bit and see how deep it is. Yeah, it's not deep at all. Alright. Okay. All these tracks are pretty well used. So I've just got Morris on the two-way there, he's following me out. We're having a lovely day. We got a piece of gold each, that's about it. But aside from that, we've had just a lovely day in the sun. Still quite cold though, it's only 12 degrees, which is pretty cold. So we've had jumpers on all day. But there's a beautiful view ahead of us there. The power lines. You can't get an appreciation of how steep these hills are from the video, I'm afraid, but they are reasonably steep. Powerline tracks are traditionally pretty rough. They get put in to service the power lines, obviously, but it gets you from point A to point B pretty quickly, so they get used a lot by four-wheel drivers, and so they get knocked out pretty bad. But we came through here at about 1 in the afternoon, and all of these puddles that we've just driven through had a sheet of ice over them, which is quite amazing. Alright, so we're now turning left onto Glen Isla Road. This place is the Nerina Historic Area. So if you're coming into this area, you just have to be careful that you're aware of any historical monuments and things that you need to avoid. You don't want to be digging in puddlers and certain areas that they're trying to preserve. So you can actually find out from, what do they call themselves now, forests and parks or whatever, and they can tell you what areas you can detect and fossick. And you know, as long as we follow the rules, they'll stay open unless the loonies get hold of it, and like has been the trend in New South Wales, they've closed all the parks up, and now they're just tinder boxes waiting to explode whenever the weather gets a bit hot. Massive bushfires. But control burns and all that is certainly the best way to handle bush like this. None of these trees have been here more than 50 years or so. It's all new growth. When you see the lithographs of the original goldfields, which this is part of, you couldn't see a tree from one horizon to the other. They'd actually cut them all down and use them either for building houses or burning for heat.
Great with the big mirrors.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they? They're you get to see everything.
Yeah. It looks like a bit more beefy, you know.
The other thing is they're not expensive mirrors. They only cost me about $100 and something each. They weren't expensive.
Yeah, they're not automatic, hey? You've got to manually set them.
No, the actual adjustment is automatic, but they don't fold in by themselves.